adopt a resolution, and I ask that the language in this resolution is as follows. Whereas the Nye County Personnel Policy, Article 2.13, Code of Ethical Standards, states that the elected officers and appointed officers and employees of Nye County recognize that holding public office and/or employment is a public trust, and to preserve that trust, we demand the highest code of conduct and ethical standards. And whereas the Code of Ethical Standards states that the officers and employees of Nye County shall comply with certain basic levels of conduct, and that all elected officials and appointed officials and employees will conduct themselves with honesty and integrity in the course of performing their duties and responsibilities. And whereas the Code of Ethical Standards states that elected officials and appointed officials will, at all times, act in a way that upholds the values and the integrity and good reputation of Nye County. And whereas the Nye County Board of County Commissioners has a legitimate interest in and obligation to protect the interests of Nye County and address any elected official or appointed official who commits acts of omission or commission that negatively impact on the public's perception of the integrity or credibility of Nye County or erodes the public confidence in the county. And whereas Shirley L. Matson, the duly elected assessor of Nye County, made various written communications containing racially charged and insensitive comments concerning the immigration status of contract workers and employees for the county, the nature of which were wholly inappropriate and volatile and served to initiate public backlash. And whereas Mrs. Matson sent many of these communications through the Nye County email system under the seal of Nye County in her official capacity as Nye County Assessor. And whereas Mrs. Matson's communications and other subsequent statements made in an attempt to defend her actions and her political views regarding immigration have served to distract citizens from addressing the real problems with illegal immigration, because the focus has shifted to outrageous generalizations such as those made by Mrs. Matson. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Nye County Board of Commissioners does hereby publicly reprimand Mrs. Matson for using her public position in such a manner as to negatively impact the public's perception of Nye County through the making of public comments tending to suggest that Nye County officials tolerate racial discrimination, a position that is wholly inconsistent with the policies and practices of Nye County. That's my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Wrote all that since the evidence has come in, Commissioner? Very
All right.
impressive.